Now we're going to dive into the animations of our player, this robot specifically. Right now he's just playing the same animation over and over, which looks like an idle and a shoot. Let's go take a look at him. The animator for this robot is underneath the robot and on this base object. Looks like the name of it is Robo, which is, I think, a terrible name. But that's actually an animator override controller that's using this character one. I can tell because if I double click on it, it says animator override controller, and then it references this character controller. Let's go to the character controller and open it up and see what it has. So here's our controller, and I've got the robot with the animator selected again. We've got one parameter named blend, and if we go to the layers tab, we'll see that there are 3 different layers: mobility, action, and hidden. I don't really like the names, but we can modify these. Well, let's hit play real quick and watch it in action again. So on the layers, I can modify the action layer to stop it from shooting. The shoot action is happening right there. I can go to the hit layer if I want. I could drag up the weight and make it start taking damage and dying. Doesn't do a very good job of not looping back over though. Obviously I'm not going to want to control it that way, but we can change it later. And then in our mobility tab, we've got quite a few different options. We've got a duck, we've got a run, and we've got a jump. We have one parameter here named blend, and that's actually for this jump blend tree, so we can blend between our jumps, so we can have a nice smooth jumping animation. But we can't even get into our jump yet because we don't have any transitions. So we need to go up to the mobility level of our mobility layer. And here we have a bunch of transitions set up to go from one state to another, but there are no conditions to allow this to happen. So let's stop playing, add some parameters, and set up our conditions. First, I'm going to rename our jump parameter. This jump blend is named blend, and I think that's too generic and really easy to get confusing what's going on there. So I'm going to call this jump blend, the capital J and a capital B. Then I'm going to add in a parameter for speed. I'll make that a float. And this will be for how fast we're going, or for if we're moving. In fact, you know what? Let's just change this. Instead, since we're not going to be blending anyway, let's use a bool for our movement. So let's add a new boolean, and let's call this move. We'll add another new boolean, and we'll call this one jump, and then another one for ducking. I was thinking of adding a float, but really that only helps if we're doing some actual blending between different animations. Otherwise, a bool makes it quite a bit simpler. It makes a lot more sense. So for our idle to run transition, we just need one condition. We need a condition that move is equal to true. For our run back to idle, we'll select the transition with that arrow going from run to idle. We'll add a condition, again by hitting plus, and choose move is equal to false. Now, if I accidentally delete one of these transitions, like this idle to run transition, like, oh, I accidentally deleted that, I can always right click on the idle, hit make transition, and then drag to the end point or the destination and left click. That'll give me the transition here. I just have to hit the plus button and then choose my transition condition again. If I do it like this, though, there's going to be a minor issue. Let me show you what that issue is. Let's hit play. And watch our character. So he's just idling, doing his thing. And if I hit move, watch what happens. So he starts running, but watch when I stop him running. He stops instantly. The start has a delay. Look at that. It doesn't start until it finishes, until it gets all the way to the end there. The reason for that is this has exit time checkbox. If I uncheck that, then when I hit move, it's going to instantly start transitioning instead of waiting. Has exit time will make it go all the way to the end before it exits out, essentially. So let's add in our other transitions. We're going to add one from idle to jump. We'll hit the plus on the condition, choose our jump being equal to true. For the return, we'll choose jump equal to false. Now we also want to be able to go from jump into run. So we'll hit plus and add a jump equals false here. But we're going to add an additional condition here that we're also not moving. So we'll say move. Oh, whoops. I clicked the wrong one. So jump is equal to false and move is equal to true. Now that also means that on our condition or transition from jump back into idle, we probably want to have another condition that checks that we're not moving. So if move is false, we'll go this way. Otherwise, we'll go that way. The last one we need for jump is from run to jump. We're going to want a condition, again, just that we are jumping. The jump is set to true. All right, now let's do the final ones for duck. So we'll go to the duck, hit plus. We'll choose duck is equal to true, and move is equal to, well, actually, we don't need the condition for move equal to false. This is going into duck. Almost did it the wrong way. Also for run, we'll hit plus and choose duck is equal to true to go from run into duck. Now to go from duck into idle, of course, we want duck is equal to false and move is equal to false. Now notice that we're doing all of this, again, while we're playing. That's because this is a scene level or a project level asset, not a scene level asset. So the changes will save, although we do have to hit save project. All right, the last change we need or transition is from duck to run if duck is false and move is equal to true. All right, let's hit the duck button and see what happens. We duck down, look at that. He can now duck and start shooting, and he can stand back up. If I've got move on, he'll move and duck and then go back to moving, or to go to jump and then go back to moving, or jump and then go to idle. Now for the jump blend, let's see, we'll put him in jump mode. We'll crank this up to maybe like a 0.5 and maybe a 1. Let's put in a 1 here and kind of see it happening. If I go into this jump, though, by double clicking on it, I can actually slide the blend right up here and I can see how it's going to do that jump animation. Now let's stop playing, save the animator off, and then hook up our code. To do that, though, we need to go into Plastic and notice that there's no pending changes. Then what I want you to do is hit File and Save Project, and you should start to see that your character controller updates. Again, this is a project level asset. It's not a scene level asset, so it doesn't save when you hit Control S or File, Save, and save your scene. It does save when you save your project or when that project auto saves, and that also means that you can modify it while you're playing. So now that that's updated, let's say that we've modified the player character controller. And eventually I want to rename this and get it kind of cleaned up more, but I want to get this committed before we have any issues, make sure that we've got all our changes in there.